Are you ready to be inspired? Welcome to the Buzzworthy Women Podcast, where we celebrate the unstoppable spirit of women in business. Get ready to be inspired by today's guest, Dawn Adelman. Dawn is a Chief Education Officer, award-winning entrepreneur, and online learning expert. She has helped accomplished women leaders, authors, and speakers through a step-by-step process to launch a lucrative consulting business in a matter of months. Dawn, welcome on the show.
Thank you, Tori. It's great to be with you.
So tell us a little bit more about you.
Well, I have been an education entrepreneur for over 35 years. I like to say that my passion is cradle to gray education. I co-founded a preschool, actually child development center company with some family members when I had my first son. If you build it, they will come. It turned out that other parents had really high expectations for their babies too, and their toddlers and preschoolers. We scaled that company very successfully. With the proceeds of that, my husband and co-founder and I started a charter school management company, did that over 18 years, scaled that globally to charter schools in the US, academies in the UK to close the poverty gap, and then to private schools in Dubai, India. We were just kind of all around. So I got into online learning in around 2010. And it was with that company, we had created a really cool proprietary curriculum. And it was actually based on what I taught as a professor. Started my career as an academic in the humanities. So imagine Plato's allegory of the cave for fourth graders. That was the program. So it was about world culture, world history. It was the perfect program to scale globally, and it was very student-centered. So we ended up converting 40,000 pages of lesson plans into a dynamic, storyboarded, student-centered, visually rich program for smartboard in the classroom and online learning at home. And that's how I got my start in online learning. And I'm really passionate about being able to work with anyone from any corner of the globe who shares the same passion. And now my focus is on adult learners in the charter school management business that we did for 18 years and scaled to $120 million a year revenue, 1,800 employees on 3 continents. It was big.
Wow. Yeah.
Now I focus on women in business and education. I do some health and relationship offers that can be marketed on LinkedIn, but it's really about monetizing your genius. And I love working with business leaders, authors, speakers who've developed a secret sauce that needs much bigger exposure out in the world. So I help them productize their genius and find their ideal clients and then scale it with an online course.
I love that. And I love that you have taken your education background and experience and just love for educating people and helping other people learn and grow to now, pay it forward. Well, you've been paying it forward your entire career, but I mean to put that focus for these women entrepreneurs, because I think in the world that we're in today, there's a lot of women who get to a corporate burnout, if you will. And especially when they have children, a small family at home, or, just have the desire to do more and be more. I think it's hard for some women to kind of see outside of the box that there is an opportunity for them and there's not a ceiling, it's a glass ceiling that, they can smash through at any point in time. And so I love that you're giving them that avenue and that resource to do that.
That is the intention. And I was so incredibly fortunate in the charter school management business. I left academe when I had 3 children and realized that to be accessible to them and be a hands-on parent, I couldn't be somewhere on campus and not be reachable. Yeah. And I also learned as an entrepreneur and in building a team that I could be exponentially more impactful and creative with the team of collaborators than I could as a sole academic.
Yeah.
But a lot of the really great upside of that experience was that I had a remarkable design team as my direct reports. Everybody stayed, we worked together close to 18 years. 14 babies were born on that design team. We all got to be hands-on parents with our kids, and we were developing a K-8 curriculum. So we had a philosophy of education that also spilled over into our family lives, and it was incredibly rich. So I'm really passionate about serving those women who maybe deferred motherhood to pursue their careers. Now they have children and they've really got something professionally too, but they really don't want to forfeit the experience with their family. They don't have to. They can build their own thought leadership business. I also love helping women phase out of the corporate VP and C-level executive roles where sometimes they've got the golden handcuffs, but they also are burned out. They've been building wealth for somebody else for decades.
Right.
They've developed something really powerful. And the beauty of this model is that you can get started part-time and really make six figures in your first year in this step-by-step process, and then get to the place where you've got certainty about when you can cross the chasm and leave behind your corporate job and go all in with your consulting business.
Yeah. Why do you think it is that women specifically, when they have a family, that we have this inner terror, like inner like division of I'm supposed to be a good mom, so I should be a stay-at-home mom, versus I want to be a corporate leader, or I want to be a thought leader, or I want to be a business owner. And there's this tug in this pool that we as women, I think, just specifically have. I'm curious, in your experience, what your thought is. Why is it that happens?
I think part of it is who we are historically, because we're really a transitional generation or two or three of people of it really started with boomers. I'm a very the young end of the boomer, kind of like right where the cutoff is, and that was tough. Working from home back in the late 90s and early aughts, that was really revolutionary. You had to start your own business to be able to have that opportunity. And I do know that when I was coming of age, my professional friends who had made partner in their law firm, for example, they didn't have any of these types of accommodations that I had even as an academic, because as a professor, I could teach a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule or a Tuesday, Thursday schedule and do my research at home the other days. Starting my own business, home based, was so much better than that.
Yeah.
But I've seen so many women struggle with an all or nothing paradigm of the super high powered corporate professional career versus the stark reality of having to build that opportunity for themselves, and trying to
Yeah.
find middle ground between those extremes is something that I've always been really passionate about, because it shouldn't be all or nothing. We should have options and choices and even a portfolio type of career if we want, based on how old the kids are, what our values are, what we want for ourselves. And again, this business model is something that can be, $120,000 a year part time. You could also build $1 million a year business model with a small team and pretty low overhead.
Yeah. As you're talking, it reminds me of the movie Baby Boom with Diane Keaton. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I love that movie, and it's so true. And that was so before its time, if you will. Thinking about when that movie was created and the concept behind it, and how they were talking about this corporate woman now having a child and was still wanting to be a women thought leader, business owner, and how she comes to life with this new brand and this new product. So I was just funny, that reminded me when you're talking about that.
Yeah, no, it is. It really feels good to serve women and for us to have more options that are right for us. And one of the most important things we can do for each other is to really honor each other's choices and know that. I think that's part of the pressure we feel is, am I doing this right? It looks like somebody else has it all together, and I just find this so overwhelming to try to do it all.
Yeah.
Even if you're at home taking care of children full time, that is a huge job. You don't get a chance to do it again.
Yeah.
And in the big scheme of things, if you don't get that right, all the accomplishments in the world
don't
really
matter.
don't count that much, because that's something you're going to have to contend with later with adult children who aren't thriving. Now I sound like I'm guilt tripping moms, and I really am not. We need choices. We need agency. We need to be able to design the life that works for us.
Yeah. And I think it's important just to touch on that point is, now children growing up with moms who are doing at-home businesses or starting their own business, it's a whole new perspective for these children that is not only going to impact them by having their parents more accessible or around or whatever that might be, but seeing the potential and opportunity for them as well. So the generations to come aren't going to have a certain perception. It's almost like, anything goes, right? You want to do this, you can do it, right? It's not like there's this perceived perception because your parents have had this job or, career in a certain way. Everything looks so different now to these children that the sky's the limits. And so I love, thinking about my young children, what their adult life is going to be like when they get into careers and stuff like that. So it's exciting to see this change and this growth in the world.
Yep, you can fast forward a couple decades, and I can tell you my three sons who grew up with two entrepreneurial parents and a household that at the time it was really a wonderful boon because of the work we were doing with charter schools and designing curriculum. We had just a phenomenal library at home that the kids got to enjoy too. But they saw entrepreneurship in action. And, all three kids are doing very well in very different ways. My oldest son, who majored in philosophy in college, now works for Google. My middle son, who has been musical his entire life, is a professional musician who has been supporting himself since he graduated with his music. And my youngest is, drumroll please, an entrepreneur and doing a brilliant job. Incredibly successful businessman, is actually hanging out with his two best friends from high school this weekend. He lives in South America, my son does. And he's got a team in South America and a team in the Philippines. But he's hanging out with his two best friends from high school. And they are a doctor, a lawyer, and a businessman.
I love it. That's fantastic. So I want you to talk about this program that you have, which is the From Passion to Launch. And so I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about what that is and kind of get some women excited about the possibilities of how you could help them.
Thanks, Tori. From Passion to Launch begins with getting clarity on your genius zone that best aligns with market opportunities, that sweet spot overlap between everything you've been and done that lights you up and where there's a hungry audience for that. And then we built a business plan from that, a business plan that's really predicated on your zone of genius, on your secret sauce mechanism that makes you uniquely qualified to deliver this learning. It typically is a transformational learning type of process that we're creating. And then we go from there to creating a marketing strategy where we identify your ideal client, how to find him or her, where they hang out. I love using LinkedIn as the primary channel. Then again, I focus on business offers and education offers, or health and relationship offers targeted to executives and business owners. So for those, LinkedIn is the right channel as well. And then, we get deep into the psychology too of who your ideal client is, the struggle that they're stuck in, that you can help extract them from, and then the benefits, the joy, the delight of being on the other side of solving that problem with your help and being able to describe that really compellingly.
Yeah.
Then we do the program design, the transformational arc of your process. Typically, it's an 8 to 12 week process that you'll be guiding your ideal clients through. Then we go to a marketing lead magnet webinar where we pull the strands together. And this is kind of a combination pitch and getting them really comfortable with you and your style. And if they resonate with that, they're invited to book an exploratory call with you. And it begins with a conversation and kind of a discovery session to see if there's alignment. Even if there's not, at the very least, especially using LinkedIn, you see each other's profiles, you know each other's background, you can network, you can be strategic partners, maybe affiliate partners. You are making a new friend. It's amazing how many really cool strategic partnerships I have found through LinkedIn, where we kind of help each other with different aspects of our business. Even if they don't become my clients, it's really a remarkable win to find these people.
Absolutely.
And then we get into the launch part where you get your first clients, you earn back your tuition investment and then some, you're off to the races. And then I have a back end offer to scale to 100K in your first year and what that looks like.
And in the structure that you put together, is it pre-recorded sessions of like learning and then some live, or is it a mix, or how do you advise your women to structure the learning?
Yeah, so very good question with that too. I do both of these. I have a VIP client offer where it's one-on-one, very high touch, where I just guide my client through the process. And where I have assignments between sessions that they work through, and then we review their work, add some more to it, and talk about the next step of the process so that they're ready to fulfill those assignments. A lot of research. I do research with my clients to help them out. But it's a guided process. We end up with maybe an 80-page document that's got all of these different deliverables, and a really great way to keep updating, and the marketing assets just flow naturally from this. I also have a group coaching model. I am launching my next cohort on October 1st. And that is a 6-month process. So there's a little bit more time and space, a little bit less expensive than the one-on-one. I'm still involved in that because I don't believe in turning people to a set of recordings and you do it yourself model. I'm a teacher and a coach and a mentor, and I really like being hands-on. But that's a hybrid model. It's got group coaching every week. It's got a call with me once a month to go over all the assignments. And it does have kind of the next level of my teaching that they can do asynchronously on their time, at their rate. And they've got 6 months to complete the program. And then they have the prerogative to go on to the back-end program as a group model also.
Love that. I love that there's options, because some people, need more hands-on. Some people thrive in a group. Some people need a little mix of both, right? So it's nice to have, all avenues covered and be able to help individually the needs that people have and how they learn and grow and how they can work best with you. So I love that.
And some people really want the result quickly. They've got a window of time. I've got the summer. I really want to get this launched by the fall. I've got an education offer, and I want to be able to meet the new school year and be able to market to parents. so that they've
Yeah.
gotten support through the whole year. So a VIP one-on-one offer gets them there quickly.
Yeah. And so when you are helping your clients build their online learning platforms and communities, do you educate them as well to do different models of live versus recorded for
Yeah,
them when they yeah.
yeah. So, we get a lot of practice with that in the webinar because I also help them on the delivery of the webinar, recording, editing, getting it nice and spiffy and ready for prime time. But the webinar preparation is a lot like the curriculum design preparation. And we did design the branded look too that they'll also use in building out their content for their course. But that webinar gets them making money right away.
Right.
And the reason I start with a high ticket offer, the one-on-one, and the framework, the skeletal framework of their program without building out all the lessons quite yet, is to validate it first with real people. And to do a high touch version of this, so they're earning while they're learning and validating their offer. They're very hands on and getting results for and with their clients. They're
Yeah.
making sure that their assumptions about the process and what needs to be taught are actually correct in moving
Yeah.
the needle for people. And from working with real people and getting real case studies, the content they create becomes exponentially more valuable because it's vetted and validated with real people first.
Yeah, I think that's the key right there because so many people, when they think, oh, I'm going to create an online course, they just start recording and putting, PDFs together, and they haven't really vetted or proven that their concept and thought of what their avatar or client needs may not actually be aligned. So this process, the way that you're structuring it, gives you that opportunity to live really tweak and adjust so that you have all of the information that you need to have the recordings or anything that might be something that doesn't require your live time to be spot on and definitely hitting the nail on the head, if you will, for what the client needs. So I love that approach.
Thank you. And it also attracts people who have real integrity in what it is they're teaching and the transformation that they can guide people through, because the one-on-one is not nearly as comfortable if you don't have something really powerful to deliver to your clients.
True.
And we live in a noisy world with a lot of content. Now with AI, there's going to be even more noise and more derivative stuff that is just really not high value.
Yeah.
And I'm about transformational learning, and it begins in that crucible of ideas where you are really guiding someone to clarity and to this really great outcome on the other side, and you are completely accountable and on the front lines doing this with them.
Yeah, and I think your approach of the high touch is really going to differentiate people in the AI driven world that we're approaching or now just getting into, because it's going to be a lot of things are going to be automated, and so people are going to see more value in the personal one-on-one high touch approach. So I think that's very smart, and I think the people who adopt that formula are going to be successful in the long run for sure.
Yeah, it's a good counterbalance. Efficiency is great, but let's never, ever lose our human touch.
Absolutely.
And, results are relational. To become everything that we came here to be, we get there with other people. And that includes mentorship, that includes serving people, that includes being really proud of the work that you do because you're purpose driven and it lights you up every day. And that's the beauty of entrepreneurship. And this mitigates the risk a bit because you're not spending 6 months creating content, then launching, and then finding nobody buys it.
Yeah.
You're earning while you're learning, and you're doing a really great job serving other people in the process. And you can do it part-time, which mitigates risk even further.
Yeah. Well, Dawn, I am so excited that I had you on the show and that we were able to talk about this amazing program that you have. And I know that there's women out there listening who can definitely benefit from this for themselves, growing or changing their career path, however they might want to move forward. So, how can people get in touch with you or learn more about working with you?
Thanks, Tori. Very easy. I love when people connect with me on LinkedIn. Just look up Dawn D. Adelman, PhD. You'll find me. And let's start a chat. That's my favorite way. You can also go to dawnadelman.com and watch my masterclass. And if you want to review that first and then reach out to me, you'll be able to book a call directly through that as well. But I would love to meet anyone for whom this resonates. If you're interested to explore a bit further, I love those discovery calls, and you will not feel pressured or, it will be a lovely experience of high value. That's my commitment to doing these calls.
I love it. Well, thank you again, and definitely reach out to Dawn on LinkedIn. That's how her and I met. We started chatting, and we've started this beautiful relationship and connection that we have, and I'm excited to see it grow for the years to come. And so definitely reach out and take advantage of her amazing knowledge and expertise, and make sure you stay buzzworthy, women.